For decades, the world believed the global order was settled. After the Cold War, the United States stood alone at the top, economically dominant, technologically superior, financially untouchable. But while the world was focused on short-term cycles, China was thinking in decades. Today, we are not witnessing a simple trade dispute. We are witnessing a long-term economic power struggle between the world's two largest economies, a battle for influence, technology, supply chains, and ultimately, global leadership. This is not just competition. This is strategic containment versus strategic expansion. The United States operates on three core pillars of power. First, financial dominance. The U.S. dollar remains the world's primary reserve currency. Most global trade is conducted in dollars. Global banking flows through U.S. influence systems. This gives Washington a powerful weapon: sanctions. Access to the dollar system can be granted or cut off. Second, technological supremacy. The U.S. leads in advanced semiconductors, artificial intelligence, aerospace, and defense technology. That is why we see strict export controls on advanced chips to China. Because in the modern world, chips are power. Third, alliances. The United States works closely with Europe, Japan, South Korea, Australia, and others to build coordinated technology and trade barriers aimed at limiting China's rise. This is strategic containment in action. China's approach is different. Beijing is not fighting headline battles. It is building systems. First, manufacturing dominance. China became the factory of the world. From electronics to industrial components, global supply chains depend on Chinese production capacity. Even major American companies manufacture heavily inside China. Second, the Belt and Road strategy. Instead of sanctions, China offers infrastructure, ports, railways, highways, energy projects. Across Asia, Africa, and parts of Europe, Beijing is building economic corridors that increase long-term influence. Third, technological self-reliance. After U.S. chip restrictions, China began aggressively investing in domestic semiconductor production, artificial intelligence research, and alternative technology ecosystems. The message is clear. If access is denied, independence becomes mandatory. Fourth, efforts to reduce reliance on the dollar. China is expanding the use of the yuan in trade agreements, especially with energy partners and emerging economies, not to replace the dollar overnight, but to reduce vulnerability. The real battlefield is technology. This conflict is about semiconductors, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, rare earth minerals, and clean energy supply chains. China controls a significant share of rare earth processing, materials essential for batteries, electric vehicles, and advanced electronics. Meanwhile, the United States is attempting to diversify supply chains and reshore critical industries. This is economic decoupling, slowly unfolding. The tariff war marked the visible beginning of this conflict. The United States imposed tariffs on hundreds of billions of dollars in Chinese goods. China responded with its own tariffs. But the long-term result was not decisive victory. Instead, companies began shifting production to Vietnam, India, Mexico, and Southeast Asia. The global supply chain map started to change. This is not the end of globalization. It is the restructuring of globalization. Who is winning? In the short term, the United States still dominates high-end innovation and global finance. In the long term, China has scale, centralized planning, and long-range industrial strategy. But both face serious internal challenges. China struggles with slowing growth, demographic decline, and instability in its property sector. The United States faces rising debt, political polarization, and heavy reliance on foreign manufacturing. Neither side is invincible. One of the most critical pressure points is Taiwan, home to the world's most advanced semiconductor manufacturing. Any disruption there would send shockwaves across global markets. So far, the conflict remains economic, but it sits on a fragile geopolitical foundation. This is not just about America versus China. It is about the structure of the future global system. Will the world remain U.S.-led? Will it become bipolar? Or are we moving toward a multipolar order where regional powers gain greater influence? What we are witnessing is not a temporary dispute. It is a structural transition in global power. And transitions of this scale rarely happen quietly. The economic war has already begun.